Blacktown City of Sydney and Heidelberg. And Heidelberg's goalkeeper, probably the new Socceroo goalkeeper now, the Terry Greedy's retiring, Jeff Olver. Jeff, you expect a big game today, I suspect, from that goal-hungry Joe Carroll, your former opponent in Melbourne.
Yeah, he seemed to have done well since he's gone to Sydney. He's knocked a few goals in, so I'm hoping Alan and the boys will be able to keep him quiet, and hopefully we can knock a couple in down the other end and hopefully get into the semi-finals.
Now, what surprised me in your lineup was that Claude Lucchese is out.
Yeah, apparently he's got a bit of a bug, a bit of a virus. It's been going around of late, so he wasn't feeling well, so Brian didn't want to risk him, so he's put young Nick up at front, so hopefully he can do as well as Claude.
All right, now you're looking as good as ever. Are you quite happy with your form?
I was quite happy. Yeah, my form's been reasonably well. Hopefully I can continue today. Hopefully I can have a clean sheet. A bit disappointed about last week, but we had a few players out. We were down to 10 men for the last 20 minutes, so it made it a bit hard for us. But hopefully today I can keep a blank sheet and we can maybe get one or two up the other end and hopefully go to the semi-finals. That's
okay, Jeff, we'll wish you the best of luck. Thanks a lot. Okay, that's match of the day, Blacktown versus Heidelberg. So let's check the team lineups. So in that Heidelberg lineup, two changes. Claude Lucchese, as Jeff Olver mentioned, is out with that bug. And of course, Steve Marley is the man, not the other man out. He's out suspended. So back come two defenders. Alan Hunter, thankfully for Heidelberg, returns from suspension. And Chris Katsakidis comes into the side as well. Alan Hunter returns from suspension today, but he's had a good season with his new club Heidelberg this season. Scorer of 4 goals, all of them penalties, 3 of them in the league and 1 in the cup. The Blacktown side also make 2 changes. Out go Adam Sandy and Martin Burke to make way for Brett Thornthwaite, the young midfielder, and Brian Ellum comes in as well. And Joe Carroll, the Blacktown number 10, will make a triumphant return to Melbourne, his former hunting ground, where he didn't do all that well with Footscray for many years. And in his short stint with Blacktown so far, he has scored no less than 8 goals, 4 in the league and 4 in the cup. Jim Rossis from South Australia is the referee, and we're away in the quarter-final of the Nanda Cup. Heidelberg in the yellow shirts attacking the goal to our right. And Jeff Olver will be looking for a secure spot with the Socceroos now that Terry Greedy has announced that he has retired from the national team, and we expect a good game from him. Overcast day in Melbourne, but quite fine, not a breath of wind in the air, but as I mentioned earlier, not a particularly big crowd today. But with me in the box is Len McKendry, the coach of Brunswick Juventus. Len, what kind of a clash can we expect here?
Well, I think it'd be a very interesting one, Les. I haven't seen Blacktown. I've heard a lot of good things about them. Heidelberg, I think, a little bit disorganised today in comparison to last week. So it's early days yet.
Right, Salamidis on the ball. A little one through. Challenge coming from Ainsworth, and the referee has given a free kick to Heidelberg. John Canasulis, formerly of South Melbourne, and Valentine it'll be, Mickey Valentine over the ball. John McKee's there as well, but Theo Salamidis, who does know how to hit them from here, chipping it though, and that's away by McLeod, and then by Thornthwaite, falls for Slater. It's a safe one back for Joe Angela. Stephen Knight just tidying up for his keeper, Dave Curtis, a man to keep an eye on. Did some wonderful things for Blacktown already this season, catching the eye of representative selectors. Here's McLeod. Peter Willis, Bradley. And the pass was meant for Slater, but it eluded both of them. And the flag's up for a throw-in. Heidelberg coming into the game after a 4-1 loss to Juventus last week. And their scorer in that game, Claude Lucchese, is out of the side today, and he will be sadly missed, I should think, Len.
Well, he didn't do much last week, Les, but he's an experienced player, and you need them in these games. You know, plus, as I said, also, he's a finisher.
How's Heidelberg looking this season as opposed to last? Big change in their makeup, still with Brian Garvey, of course, but lineup-wise, there have been a few changes.
Yeah, well, they've brought Hunter in, and of course, Lucchese's come in, but they've lost a couple of valuable players as well, and I think they've been feeling this, particularly in the last few weeks. But I like this new boy that they've got in from England, Wilson, who showed some nice touches last week.
McLeod back to his keeper Curtis, and immediately released on the right is Peter Willis. And it's a long one looking for Slater. We can expect a bit of mobility from him on the flanks. Slater, a good operator on either flank. He was mostly used in his still young career on the right flank. But I noticed that before he transferred to Blacktown, towards the end of last season, Frank Aruk used him on the left flank to force him to go inwards. He does favour his right foot. Here's Slater again. And he cracks one with the left and falls nicely for Jeff Olver. So you can expect the odd shot from those sort of distances from the Blacktown players, particularly Slater, Thornthwaite, and of course Joe Carroll. Bradley, Thornthwaite, Slater, Carroll's in the middle. Well guarded though, but that's a good ball in. Awkward one for the Heidelberg defenders. And it goes behind. I think it came off Joe Carroll for a goal kick. Robbie Slater did the damage on the right-hand side, and the ball got away in the end off a Blacktown striker. Joe Angela. Thornthwaite. Tackle was by Canasulis. McLeod. And now free and unmarked was the number 17, Paul Wilson. Miscued the shot. And a good chance. There's Wilson. And the shot couldn't have been too far wide. An opportunistic chance there, Len, for Wilson, but the shot was a little bit bad.
It didn't even look.
Much too hurried. Tim Ross is the referee from South Australia. Free kick to Heidelberg. Valentine, who used to partner Don McLeod in the centre of the back line for Heidelberg. Long cross towards Salamidis, no problems for Dave Curtis. Carroll's under this, chipping it on for Slater, and just nodded back by Alan Hunter. And Jeff Olver, 25 years of age, and by now a very experienced lad. Slater. Carroll's on the far left. And a good tackle too. Chris Katsakidis got the tackle in. Here's the corner. And the little chip. And finally away by Hunter again for another corner. So the short corner. Carroll try to hook it back in. LM. Salamidis is under this, and he's forced to give away another one. So 3 corners on the trot. Theo Salamidis nodding it behind for a Blacktown corner. Blacktown coming into the match after a 2-2 draw with Newcastle last week. Bit of an obstruction to the good progress they've been making in the league, but they're still looking quite good. And LM cracks it, threaded through, and that'll be some relief for Heidelberg finally. A little bit of pressure on Heidelberg there, Len.
Yes, there's Blacktown look very well organised on their corner kicks, where Heidelberg don't know whether to come out or stay in. There was occasions there they should have come out and they stayed in. They gave themselves even more trouble. But Blacktown look very well organised on their set play.
Jeff Olver's looking real national team material now, isn't he? You'd remember him from your days at home.
Oh yes, he's done exceptionally well, but on that point, Banovic is in a class of his own.
That's right, yes. Well, that was in the days when, of course, before Banovic went to England and Jeff was his deputy, wasn't he?
Jeff spent 2 years on the bench.
So no score in this Cup quarter-final. One semi-finalist already known. Sydney Olympic having been beaten by Canberra City on Friday night, and 2 other semi-finals being played, quarter-finals being played today. Or rather, one other one and another one on Wednesday night. Here's Alan Hunter with a free kick. Lobbing it deep into the area. Salamidis is under this again. And turns onto it, always willing to try anything. Theo Salamidis, the half chance. Good technique, and has scored some spectacular goals in his time. Here's Knight. And Slater on his right foot. And it's just wide. So, good counter-attack by Blacktown. And here's Carl Patterson with Claude Lucchese.
Claude Lucchese, Heidelberg striker out today. What's the... I've had a bit of a viral infection that's just come about in the last 24 hours or so, mainly in the stomach. So without risking the team's performance, I thought it was best if I declared myself unfit. Thanks a lot, Claude.
Claude Lucchese, who is, of course, being missed by Heidelberg today. Even Stevens at Olympic Park after some 10 minutes of play. And John Kanasoulis leaving the free kick for Alan Hunter. Chipping it. So Mickey Valentine will take the throw in as Joe Angela gets some attention. Bit of a long throw specialist. Away by McLeod. And a good shot and a fine goal by Peter Tolakis. So Peter Tolakis breaks the deadlock after some 11 minutes of play. Came from the throw-in. It fell right after a Don McLeod header. And there was a dip on that ball as it went over Curtis's head. So Heidelberg take the lead, having been able to withstand some Blacktown pressure earlier after just 11-12 minutes. Len.
Yeah, he did very well there, Les. I don't think he actually got any follow-through on the ball at all. I give him credit. I think he got more of his toe with it to give it the dip. Took it very well.
Well, those things happen, don't they? The centre-back makes a clearance, and all it has to do is fall to the opposing striker, and in it can go. That's the danger that's brought on by the long throw.
You put the defender under a lot of pressure. But I give him his due. As I said, he didn't even try and strike it properly. He sacrificed his follow-through just to get the strike at the ball. It's very good to see.
So Blacktown gaining a free kick deep in the Heidelberg half. Willis to take it. Salamidis away again. He's getting through a ton of work. Talakis with the clearance. Away by Knight. And Knight has to chase back for this. And Ainsworth clearing back to his keeper. What I wonder can we expect now, Len, from Heidelberg? There's still an awful long time to go. I should think they would be still wanting to try for more, would they not?
Yes, yeah. They're not a very defence-conscious side, Les. They'll come for more goals. That's, give them credit last week. They tried to attack throughout the game. But I was impressed with the first 10 minutes of Blacktown. They looked very much in control through their midfield.
And that ball almost breaking right for Brett Thornthwaite. Always looking for that loose man up front with the long probing ball. Paul Wilson eluding two men, did that well, right-footed cross, but there's nobody there to receive it in the centre. Ellen. Carroll. Ellen again. Free man in Stephen Knight, and back to the keeper. And already Heidelberg are looking at a substitute in the shape of John Metaxas. And one wonders who will be coming off. Joe Angela was the man who was receiving attention earlier. There is a bandage around his right calf, and he's hobbling, so I should think he's the man who will be coming off. John Metaxas, a midfielder. And Joe Angela it is who's coming off, so that won't be a good sight. John Metaxas, a talented player, Len, but of course a very strong competitor is Joe Angela.
Yes, and unfortunately, I think what they have to do now is pull Salamidis out of the midfield into the back again, which is going to
limit them in their
midfield. Yes, they have to pull Salamidis back.
So the long one, Elam under this, and again, that time Nick Delianis tried it. So on the side.
Well,
Joe Ashley, what's happened?
Well, I went up for a header and someone clipped me in the Achilles at the back here as I landed, and it seems like that I've done something to it because I can't put my weight on it at all, so it's not feeling too good at the moment.
Okay, Joe, get some treatment.
Good.
Okay, let's back to you.
Thanks, Carl. Poor old Joe Angela sitting out the rest of the game. A bit of pushing and shoving going on there between Don McLeod and Delianis. Blacktown free kick. Ainsworth. Elam. Ainsworth back to Curtis. And it'll be up the middle from him. Salamidis down. Wilson. Delianis. And Steve Knight doing the clearance, and it'll be a Blacktown. But Blacktown will concede the throw right near the corner flag, and the pressure on Blacktown again. So Valentine, who caused a lot of problems for Blacktown with his previous throw, away by Don McLeod that time for a corner. So Theo Salamidis joining the attack now for this corner, deep in the penalty area. And the corner will come in from Mickey Valentine. In swinger, dangerous one. And Salamidis tried to put it in. He's claiming handball, but he's not getting it. Jim Rosses says no, and he was right on the spot. Certainly not deliberate handball would be the answer, I should think, from Jim Rosses. A corner has been given on the other side, but that's how it happened. The ball kicked onto the hand, if it did happen, of Jeff Ainsworth. Here's the corner from Canasulis, the in-swinger. And Dave Curtis picking it nicely out of the air. And now Metaxas is released on the right. Knight will have to chase back pretty quickly and gets a good tackle in.
This boy Wilson's causing a lot of trouble at the moment, Les.
Yes, he is. As you say, he does have some nice touches. Metaxas. And the corner again. Rebound coming off Willis, or indeed Ainsworth. So suddenly Blacktown having centered some goals here. Another corner again from Valentine, punched by Curtis. Valentine again, laying it down for Metaxas. Good ball inside, and Alan Hunter, to his credit, tried to play it around his man, didn't quite have the finesse to do it, but there'll be a corner to Heidelberg once again. A lot of pressure now on Blacktown. That'll be Valentine. Deep one again, punched by Curtis. And Solakis, 2 men free here, but the ball was over the line by the time either of those, Wilson it was in fact, who got to it. So finally a goal kick to Blacktown, who are down 1-0. Peter Solakis the scorer after 12 minutes. And we're in the quarterfinals of the Nanda Cup. Well, I'm not sure what happened there. It looked a bit like handball to me.
Decision there.
Very strange decision. One had to stop to think whether he saw it right. Thrown again to Heidelberg. And John McKee, formerly of West Adelaide. Metaxas, Thornthwaite, and we haven't really seen much of Blacktown in the Heidelberg half in the last few minutes. Hunter, but thanks to his mistake, they're in through on a break now. That's a good ball to Slater. Taking on McKee, and McKee gets a good tackle in. I think Robbie Slater telegraphed the move a little bit, but he got a corner nonetheless. So Heidelberg, who have, as Len McKendry said, have been having problems with these corners, facing another one. In swinger, nodded on by Carroll over the bar, and it'll be a goal kick.
QB.
Olympic Park still as pretty as a picture. You might see in the background there the seats on the far stand just being built. So that stand on the far side will in fact only be half standing room, and the rest will be seated. So that's a very welcome development here at what is a fine ground anyway. Let's cross to Carl Patterson on the sidelines.
Brian Garvey, Heidelberg coach, happy the way things going?
Yeah, it's pleased at the moment. It's unfortunate. No, Joe's got an ankle injury where he got his Achilles tendon stood on. It was too sore to carry on. But while he was off, we scored Peter Solakis scored a good volley, so that's very pleasing. It's difficult having to adjust the team, you know, so soon in the game. But fortunately, Theo has been playing sweeper at the back of late, and he's slotted back in there. And I brought John Metaxas on as a right winger.
Brian, thank you very much.
All right.
Back to you, Les.
Thank you, Carl. Brian Garvey, the Heidelberg coach, obviously not too unhappy at the moment. Most of the pressure has been coming from his side since that replacement of Joe Angela. John McKee putting it back to Jeff Olber, who has not been doing too much of late. I'm not too certain about Theo Salamidis' defensive qualities, Len. Is that a fairly secure prospect for Heidelberg?
Oh, he can do a job there, Les, because he's good in the air, but technically he's not a sweeper. You know, his support to his fullbacks and midfield players is not the best. He's never really been worked on as a sweeper, but in the air he's excellent. Plus, again, you know, he's experienced. He's not uncomfortable there.
Here's Metaxas. That indeed is Metaxas forward towards Wilson. Now Kanasulis, Hunter, McKee. And the long one up on towards the far side. Allen. Thornthwaite, Bradley and Might. Little dummy from Slater. Goes only as far as Salamidis, though. And now Tsalakis. Whistle's gone. Gary Byrne looking rather different than he used to look back in his Socceroo days. But still a fine competitor. Tsalakis causing some problems for Blacktown. Tsalakis again getting the ball back from Valentine. A little chip inside. Wilson and cracked by Kanasulis. Blocked by Ellen. And Carroll. Slater. Kanasulis the winner. Here's Hunter. And this is a good break. And a good intercept from Ainsworth. Still Delianis. Away by McLeod. And Tsalakis is there. Always enough Heidelberg men to pick up the loose ball. Square ball now for McKee. Match being played in reasonably good spirits, I must say. Len, there hasn't been all that many free kicks. Certainly no sign of a booking anywhere.
No, no.
So Dave Curtis now down for McLeod. Hunter's under this. Bit of a push on John Metaxas, in fact, and a free kick to Heidelberg. John McKee to take it. Away by McLeod. Slater. And Hunter back. Alan Hunter, having served his suspension back today. Slater's away. But Salamidis read it well, read the bounce of the ball well, and down goes Slater. Certainly didn't look like any malice to me from Theo Salamidis, the referee giving a free kick to Blacktown just outside the area. And it looks like John Bradley will be taking it. He does know how to chip the ball in rather delicately to the target man in the middle. And that's a nice one, a good save, well read by Olver. Back it comes, Carroll, and a brilliant save from Jeff Olver. A magnificent save. A fabulous piece of evidence to show just how good his reflexes are. All began with the free kick. There was a good save in the beginning from Olva, and then under the most awesome pressure, a brilliant save from Jeff Olva. Nonetheless, a corner at the other side. And Carroll, now Byrne, and charge down for another corner. So momentarily, it's Heidelberg on the back foot and relying very much on Jeff Olva.
See, Les, they should have come out. They should have come out. They stayed in there.
Yes, indeed, Len. It's obvious they should have come out, and Blacktown have equalised through their number 11, Brett Thornthwaite, just 19 years of age. And this is how it happened. The ball did come off. I think the last touch was from Thornthwaite, so he'll claim the goal. So after 27 minutes, it's 1-1 in the quarter-final at Olympic Park between Heidelberg and Blacktown. Well, Len, you were saying they did look confused with the corners, the Heidelberg defenders.
Yeah, they're very badly organised there, Les. I mean, they had 2 men out there for a free kick. They only needed 1. They lost the runner on the short corner that they got the goal from. Then they actually cleared their lines and they stayed in, just asking for trouble when they got it.
So Heidelberg hungry for revenge now, with Kanasoulis on the ball, being challenged by Bradley. Hunter probing forward, and the whistle's gone for a free kick to Heidelberg. I might have thought he would have given an advantage there. Nonetheless, he's given a free kick. So Mickey Valentine and Theo Salamidis. Valentine cracking it. Awkward ball, but going straight to Dave Curtis. Not easy to save those bobbling free kicks. Here's Carroll. And that's a good ball, and a good position was Joe Slater. Left completely unmarked. Robbie Slater. Good header! Yes. And Brett Thornthwaite makes it 2-1. And Heidelberg caught absolutely flat-footed on the Blacktown counter-attack. It's almost inexplicable how they were caught there. Originally, a beautiful ball was given to Robbie Slater. He made the cross, and the ball went in. So there we are, 2-1, the scoreline. I should think generally against the run of play, Len.
Yes, Les, but it gets back to the early 10 minutes of the game when Blacktown looked so good coming through the midfield, and that's how they scored that goal again.
And a free kick, it'll be to Blacktown. Willis. And slipping on the turf was Robbie Slater. So, Len, a bit of a stalemate developing. The pattern hasn't changed very much.
No, I think Heidelberg are pressuring a lot better, and they're forcing Blacktown to try and play these balls into Heidelberg's strength, which is the big men at the back, Salamidis and Hunter. I think conversely, Heidelberg must try and do the same to keep the ball away. McLeod's only lost 1 ball in the air today, and that was the flick on just recently by Wilson. I think they've got to keep the ball away from him as well.
Blacktown are relying very much on the break.
Yep.
What's the main strategy against that sort of...
Have possession of the ball.
Just simply keep possession. Now Stephen Knight, can he get around his fullback? Yes, he can. And the whistle's gone. The ball was out of play, in fact, before Stephen Knight got it. Obviously a band of Blacktown fans not entirely impressed, but the scoreline is in Blacktown's favour. A couple of minutes to go before the break. They lead 2-1. Now Heidelberg on the attack. Katsakid is dispossessed. Now Hunter can bring it up again for Heidelberg. There are men in the middle. Peter Tsalakis dispossessed quite easily by Gary Byrne, experienced campaigner. 30-odd caps for Australia. Now Slater, if he can get past Salamides, he's in. But he's waited too long. McKee. Delianis. He saw Wilson. And Wilson turning, rather than centering the ball, try the left foot shot on the turn. And there is the whistle for the half-time. Len McKendry.
Well, Liz, as I said, I think that if either side can get hold of the midfield and get the ball past the opposite midfield and into the front men, I think it will kill this stalemate. But they've got to stop this long sort of ball from back four to back four into ball play from McKee just now into McLeod. You know, this sort of toing and froing. I think if they can try and get the ball through the opposite midfield, either side, I think will start to dominate.
Okay, so 2-1 the half-time score. Goals coming from Peter Tsalakis. He opened the scoring, giving Heidelberg a 1-0 lead. And then Blacktown replied with 2 goals from Brett Thornthwaite. So on the sidelines to talk to us, to talk to Carl Patterson, is the Blacktown coach. Olympic Park, where we're about to get the second half underway between Blacktown City in the red, who will now attack the goal to our right, and Heidelberg. And 2-1 the scoreline to Blacktown. And much of that can be put down to, I suppose, the mystery that Blacktown holds to the Heidelberg team. 2 opponents who have not met each other before, certainly not in recent times. And in such a contest, Blacktown are proving to be the better at the moment. Don McLeod in the thick of the action in the first half. Here's John Canasulis. Remember, Heidelberg have used one of their substitutes, Bradley. Peter Tsalakis, good cross. Delianis was the man who made the header. Katsakidis finding Wilson. And good tackle by Stephen Knight. So the early pressure coming from Heidelberg. And it'll be a corner once again to be taken by Mickey Valentine, who seems to be taking a lot of the corners. And it'll be swinging in. Up goes Curtis, unchallenged. Now Slater, challenge coming from Hunter. Good tackle. Byrne, good vision. Forward by Willis. Interception from Katsakidis, down by Hunter. Byrne again. So should the match go into extra time and into penalties, much will depend on this man, a penalty taker for Heidelberg, Alan Hunter. Although, of course, only one penalty can be taken by each player. He's the most dependable man in that department. Hunter. Zalakis. Wilson back. Forward. Touch too far. Away by Willis. Or by Ainsworth. Out of play. And Jeff Ainsworth giving away a throw-in. Ketsakidis. Wilson. McLeod is with him. Bradley. Down goes Paul Wilson. Free kick to Heidelberg. And Chris Ketsakidis, one of the men brought back into the Heidelberg side today, with Marley being suspended after he was sent off last week. No problems there for Dave Curtis. Big strapping lad, 22 years of age. Slater and Salamidis. Ketsakidis. Now Wilson. Wilson again. And Knight for Ainsworth. Slater. Seeing that he didn't have too many in partnership, laying it back for Knight. And it'll be a Blacktown throw. Stephen Knight. And the referee wants him back. Down from Hunter, forward by Metaxas. Wilson with McLeod. McLeod did manage to get a toe to it. Knight. Back for Byrne. And it's time to switch it to the other side, I should think. And Curtis wanting to do it. But Heidelberg players have closed down on too many men. Here's McLeod. Ainsworth. And Knight looking for Slater. Hunter forward, finding McKee. Good ball, that. And the long cross towards Wilson. Just a gentle one towards the keeper. Almost fell behind him. Curtis was back quickly. Together. Deep cross from John McKee. Finding its man. And tall, strong man, Alan Hunter, managed to get a header in. Now Metaxas, free and unmarked. Well, a little fortunate that that ball went to Paul Wilson. He tried the first timer and he hooked it well over the bar. Metaxas, instead of passing it, tried to crack it from a good distance out. And there was no reward at the end. Ainsworth. Forward for Slater. Good little flick towards Ellen. McKee for Heidelberg. McLeod is there, as is Delianis. And McLeod forcing a bit of acrobatics out of his own goalkeeper with the pass back. And a corner to Heidelberg is all they got for it. And tigerish save by Dave Curtis to put it behind. And the corner will be taken again by Mick Valentine. And corners at this end have led to some things for Blacktown in the first half, and that's missed by Curtis. Carroll did well. And the Blacktown throw. Allen. Looking for support. In fact, he'll leave it for Willis. And the referee is now going back to attend to Dave Curtis, the Blacktown goalkeeper. And there'll be some problems if that injury is serious enough. Any difference in the pattern of play so far, Len?
Yes, it's interesting, as I said at half-time, Les, that when they start to knock the ball long, they give the ball away to each other, yet there's been more soccer played in this opening minutes of the second half, purely in terms of number of passes strung together when both sides play through the midfield. But nearly every time they start to knock it long, they play into each other's defensive strengths. Even that long ball that McLeod gave away for a corner was really just a bad pass by him back to his goalkeeper, because he easily collected the ball.
Well, this is where Dave Curtis got his injury as he went up for that corner, and he fell badly on his back with a player falling on top of him. And he seems to be okay. There are no goalkeeper substitutes allowed, or at least they're allowed, but there's usually no goalkeeper on the bench, and certainly there isn't one for Blacktown. That's a rule that might be worth looking at as a coach, Len. You might feel that it's worth looking at to allow 2 outfield players plus a goalkeeper.
Yes, I'd like to see it go back in this. It's difficult to know what to do with the goalkeeper. I said Oliver spent 2 years virtually on the bench, but it does. I mean, it could have cost us a win last week.
So Robbie
John
Slater.
Osborne would forgive me for saying that, I know.
Yeah. Robbie Slater just missing an opportunity there, spooning the ball well over. And the score remains 2-1 to Blacktown. Robbie Slater scoring one of the goals in the previous round, 3-0 win over St George. And earlier, of course, in the first round, Blacktown beat West Woden Juventus of the ACT 6-0. So they've put together 9 goals, with today's goals, 11 goals in the cup so far. That's 11 goals in 3 matches, less than 3 matches. Now Tolakis and Hunter.
I see that aimless ball there by Hunter, although the flick-on came off, there's defenders in there behind it. They're just losing possession.
Yes, that's the old lottery ball, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Salamidis trying to weave his way through with a burst of individualism. And Katsakidis will take the throw. Tolakis. Now Joe Carroll. And the tackle from Hunter. Blacktown throw it'll be from Willis. Quick one to Carroll. Nice one back inside for Willis. First time cross. And some problems for Olva, caused by Brett Thornthwaite. But it's Heidelberg away. Here's Tolakis. And the cross comes McLeod. Timed his tackle well. Former Heidelberg campaigner Don McLeod, in and out of the Blacktown side because of injury this season. He has played 6 of the league games, 6 of the 8 league games Blacktown have had so far. Katsakidis. Hunter. Still Blacktown with Slater. Here's Ellen. And now on the overlap is Knight. And cut out by Hunter. And a free man on the right. Target man in the middle is Wilson, but it's too far in front of him. Wasted. And really, at times like that, players are better giving the short pass. Carl Patterson is on the sidelines.
Terry Hennessy, coach of Croatia. How do you think the game's going?
Well, it's a battle at the moment. Heidelberg started off very well, scored the goal. I thought they were going to get more goals, to be honest with you. But all of a sudden, Blacktown came back, and from a couple of situations, virtually out of nothing, they got two excellent goals. They took over, but Heidelberg are slowly getting themselves back in the game. It's very tough because they've had to reorganise through the injury. And I think if they get a goal, they can go on and beat Blacktown. However, if Blacktown get the other goal, then I think it's all over.
Terry Hennessy, thank you very much. Back to you, Les.
Thank you, Carl. And a free kick to Blacktown, forward by Gary Byrne. And a soft header from Don McLeod. And still the game very open. 2-1, Blacktown leading. And some 13 minutes gone in the second half. And this is about the point in the first half when the deadlock was broken by Peter Tsalakis. Kanasulis. John McKee. Allen intercepts, but it's still Heidelberg's ball in the shape of a throw-in. Kanasulis. And it'll be a corner. Stephen Knight just getting a toe to it to put it over the byline for a corner. So Mickey Valentine will be taking it as Theo Salamidis struts forward again into the box. In swinger, good header and a fine goal. The header was from Wilson, and Salamidis was the man who got the touch to put it over the line. So it's well worth a second look just to see who will be credited with the goal. A good header down, and Salamidis got the left foot as the ball was crossing the line. Anybody's guess really, Len, whether it was Salamidis' goal or Wilson, but you did say that Wilson is looking good, and it's a goal that he would have well deserved in any case.
He's got some nice touches. I'd question Curtis here. One or two balls here in the second half. He should never have come for these balls. The one that he hurt his back on, and also the one there. He was absolutely nowhere for it. You're best to defend your line in situations like that and let your defenders do the job for you.
Stay on your line.
Stay in areas like that when you can't honestly win the ball. Now you're not going to be 100% sure. Stay on your line, defend your line, let your defenders get the ball. At least he would have been on the line to try and save the ball.
So with 16 minutes gone in the second half, it's 2-2 at Olympic Park in the quarter-final between Heidelberg and Blacktown. Heidelberg getting the equaliser, and they're on the break again. Here once again is Wilson. McKee. So it's Valentine breaking through and falling like a rather large winter coat inside the penalty area, but not enough to impress the referee. See whether you're impressed. I don't think it was, Len.
Oh, no.
I think it flew like a swan. So there it is. Jim Ross is unimpressed. and the score remains 2-2. Forward by McLeod. Hunter forwards. And now Heidelberg in an aggressive mood. And Dave Curtis will be soaking up more pressure, I should think, in the remaining minutes. Now John McKee cracks one, and some problems for Curtis. But the flag was up on the far side for offside anyway. I'm not sure whether the whistle went. But it was a cracker of a shot from John McKee, straight at the keeper. So a free kick has been given, offside decision upheld. Substitution getting ready for Blacktown. And Blacktown will be in search of goals in the remaining minutes, as indeed will Heidelberg. Don't forget, the match will go into extra time of 15 minutes each way, and then a penalty shootout, should it be deadlocked. So it's 2-2 at the moment.
There's that Amos long ball again, Les.
That's rather a spoiler, and I can't over-agree with you on that one, Len. So the substitution for Blacktown about to be made. Adam Sandy, who has a reputation as a goal poacher, is going to come on for Blacktown, and the man to go off is the defensive midfielder, Brian Ellum. 19-year-old Brian Ellum goes off, and Adam Sandy, who has managed just 2 league goals this season, coming on. Now Chalakis floating it over. So a striker coming on for a midfielder who's been playing rather at the rear end of the midfield. Len, what do you read into that? Fairly obvious, I should think.
Yeah, I think so.
So Carl Patterson now talking with Brian Ellum on the sidelines.
Brian, Blacktown's fallen in a bit of a hole out there. What's happening?
Oh, we're just not picking up our men. We're not tracking the play or anything. It's just not working.
You started off slowly. You've gone back to that. What's happened?
I don't know. We're just not picking up, and we're not making runs off the ball, and it's just nothing.
Okay, Brian. Thanks very much. Back to you, Les.
So Brian Ellum not too impressed with the way things are going at the moment, and it has been looking in the second half as though Heidelberg have been getting the upper hand, certainly more possession of the ball, and the fluency of Blacktown that they have shown in patches in the first half has gone out of their game for the moment. And McLeod not being able to get up for that one. So some composure needs to return to the Blacktown side now, Len.
Oh, yes, I think so. I said the young boy had just come off. I don't really know what he's talking about, because when they did build the play up, the runs were there, but the final pass, the setting up pass was invariably inaccurate. And I think that's been a big problem. But there are men up there.
Right, Wilson. Switching it to McKee. And the long cross again, the deep one. Here's Wilson. He needs some space, and he wasted the cross. A situation where you could be forgiven for trying to take the man on.
I think so, yes, yeah.
So it'll be a goal kick to Blacktown.
Similar to the one, well, I thought Slade had a better one in the first half, taking on Salamedes, which he didn't.
Yes.
No zeros on one-on-one. That's what the game really is all about, to try and create the one-on-one. See, there's that ball lost again, that long ball lost again from the keeper, Les.
Valentine. McKee. Metaxas, can he get the cross in? Yes, he can. Away by McLeod. It'll be Metaxas again.
Yes.
And a foul against Blacktown, or the free kick going against Blacktown. The foul was on Delianis, who's not too pleased with Stephen Knight. And this is how it happens. Push from behind, or a trip by Stephen Knight on Delianis. So Theo Salamidis and a number of his colleagues having their little meeting over just how this set piece is going to be executed. And a big wall up for the red shirts. And it'll be Salamidis. Hunter and Valentine, and it'll have to be tried again because Joe Carroll just sprinted forward to bear down on the kicker. And so Salamidis goes again. Hunter's there as well, as is Canasulas, as is Valentine. Hunter, low and hard, through the wall. And perhaps fortunate for Dave Curtis that it went straight into his hands. But Hunter finding the hole in the wall and testing the keeper. Salamidis. Willis and Bradley. Forward for Slater. Salamidis coming with the challenge. And Canasulis, the reinforcement, giving away the throw-in. Bradley. Canasulis. And Blacktown's ball again is Adam Sandy. And
now, there's my point, you see, Leslie. That was to get yourself in that position to give the ball away like that. It's criminal, and I think both these sides need to ask themselves a question: how long are these goalkeepers going to keep kicking the ball along and losing it? Look, lost the advantage here again through the offside. I think they've got to start trying to build the play up from their back through their midfield to try and create something. Because other than set plays, nothing has been created at all this half.
Well, there's no substitute for having possession of the ball and being able to do with it what you will. That is for certain. Blacktown, Gary Byrne on the ball. Stephen Knight. And again the long one forward, rather aimlessly. It's difficult to understand players playing the long ball unless there is a free man up there running through the gap or something like that, and not preferring to give the short ball to a free man.
Yeah, this is, I think, one of the bad elements of British soccer that's in Australian soccer. And actually, fact, Les, am I right in thinking I think all 4 goals have come from set play today? I think nothing's been really created in free play at all.
You're dead right. Bit of a problem for Jeff Olver, and if it is a hamstring, as it might be, judging by the way he's acting, it will be a problem for Heidelberg.
I think he's pulled a hamstring by taking all those long goal kicks, Les.
One shouldn't laugh. And one man rather brutally brought down, and it'll be a yellow card for Gary Byrne. Gary Byrne coming in and just kicking the legs from under the player, and the well-deserved yellow card for that. So the first yellow card of the game to Gary Byrne. Free kick. Punched away by Curtis. Salamidis. Hunter nodding it on. Not very well away by McLeod. And now Salamidis And he did extract a corner. Some evidence of Salamidis' experience there, willing to take his man on, knowing full well that if you can't beat him, he'll get a corner for it anyway. And it'll be John Kanasoulas to take the corner. And straight at Curtis that time. Curtis that time didn't have to come out. And a bit of darkness falling upon Olympic Park late in the afternoon now. Overcast Melbourne skies, and we could have the floodlights on if this match goes into extra time. Here's Peter Willis. Chasing on the far side is Slater, and in desperation trying to keep the ball in, he just whacked it across, but the ball was out anyway. So it'll be a Heidelberg throw. Two teams looking to advance into the semi-finals of the Cup. Heidelberg coming into the quarter-finals by virtue of beating Preston 2-1 in the first round, and then Footscray, the high-flying Footscray, 2-1 again in the second round. Deliane scoring twice in those matches, Salamidis and Hunter being the other scorers. Here's Kanasoulas. And the dangerous low cross would have needed just a touch from a Heidelberg striker, but Curtis was out for it quickly enough.
I see this Wilson starting to struggle a little bit there, as he's taken his shin pads off and his socks are down. He did the same against us last week, and I wonder if he's really match fit.
Yes, that would be would appear to be the case. Here's Slater. So it'll be a throw into Blacktown, and not many players volunteering to come across to take it. Finally, Gary Byrne does. And it'll be a short one towards Slater, but given away. And forward comes Peter Tsalakis. Wilson back inside. And on the sidelines, Carl Patterson with our Melbourne expert, Laurie Schwab.
Laurie, Heidelberg back in it. What's the secret?
Well, I think you've got to give a lot of credit to Theo Salamidis, their captain. He's one of the most underrated players in the National League. He's been with them since the National League started, and today you're seeing his versatility. He's playing at the back as sweeper. He's really a midfielder, and he came up there to get the final touch onto Wilson's header to put the sides back on level terms. But a very, very good clubman and a very good player, a player who should get a bit more credit than he does.
Laurie, thanks very much. Back to you, Les.
Thank you, Carl. And it's a cross coming in from Willis for Blacktown. And now Valentine launching a counter-attack for Heidelberg. There's a man on the right and one on the left, and he should have chosen the right.
The wrong one.
Chose the wrong man. John Kanasoulas. Here's Delianis. And the cross was coming in from Tsalakis. Metaxas back. Kanasoulas not being able to control it. And Salamidis forward, down by McLeod. Now Salamidis, the short one this time to Kanasoulas. Carroll. And Bradley. Sandy. And it's Hunter who grabs possession for Heidelberg. And Delianis can keep this in, but there isn't much support in the middle for him yet. Away by Knight. Valentine. Can he crack it? Yes, he can. Well, it looked good from this angle. Could have been 2 or 3 meters wide. And Mickey Valentine is wondering how in the world could he have hit it so bad. Well, let's just have a better look at it. It was a good 25 meters away, and it spun away in the end 4 or 5 meters away. Valentine again. Challenge coming from Byrne. Good tackle. 32 minutes gone in the second half, 13 minutes to go, 2-2 at Olympic Park in the Cup quarter-final between Heidelberg and Blacktown City. Here's Valentine. Away by Knight, and Tsalakis cracked that one. Metaxas. Finally away by Brett Thornthwaite. We haven't seen too much of him in this second half. John McKee and Thornthwaite again. And Slater is on the left. Sandy's in the middle. And Joe Carroll is making his way into the centre as well. But by that time, Robbie Slater has lost it. Here's Valentine. Now McKee. So three men forward now in the search of goals for Blacktown. Sandy, Thornthwaite and Slater. And indeed Joe Carroll is there as well, so they are looking quite numerous up front. Thornthwaite. That's away by Delianis. Indeed by Tsalakis. Here's Carroll. Forward by Knight. A long one, not terribly accurate. And Jeff Olver rolls the ball out for Theo Salamidis. But given a second chance, he will probably take the long kick.
Yeah, he's using his left foot now. And lost it again. It's just very, very repetitive. In fact, the last few minutes, Heidelberg had been looking more to play the ball through the midfield.
And that's a chip looking to release Robbie Slater. Well, the crowd here at Olympic Park might be forced to stay on just a bit longer. 34 minutes gone now in the second half. 2-2. And it'll be a free kick to Heidelberg. John Canasoulis leaving it. And Cloud down, and that's a fine goal. Tsalakis. Peter Tsalakis hitting it in with the left foot. So 3-2 to Heidelberg. It's the long free kick. And the mistake was by Don McLeod under pressure. And it fell rather fortunately for Peter Tsalakis, who cracked it home. So that's his second goal of the day. And 3-2 to Heidelberg. Glenn McKendry.
Well, another set play, Liz.
Yes, another set play.
I thought, you know, in those areas, McLeod's got to get the headers up.
So 3-2, just as we were looking towards extra time. It might still happen, of course, because Blacktown do have it in them to equalise in the remaining minutes. In comes the cross towards Olver, and Olver is struggling indeed. He's been patched up, bandaged up, that hamstring on his right thigh, and he is limping quite badly. And I'm not sure why he elects to kick, even when you consider his injury alone.
I couldn't agree more there, Les. His backmen should be in there now looking for the throws off him. And also, they've got the goal lead they need, and there's not long to go. It's vital to keep possession now as long as possible.
So possession play is the key in the remaining minutes, certainly for Heidelberg. 9 minutes to go. And just as we were wondering when the floodlights are going to come on, which they would have to do if it went into extra time, the deadlock was broken. So that's the most goals that Heidelberg have scored in the Cup. 2-1 victories in each of the two previous rounds. Jeff Olver is not a pretty sight at the moment with that injury. Just as well, there's only 8 or 9 minutes to go for him, and with nobody to substitute him. And the side of John Eisendorn substituting for Jakubanovic a couple of weeks ago, Len, wouldn't have pleased you either. As good a player as Eisendorn is.
He made a big reshuffle, and they did come back in with a goal until we recovered the last 20 minutes.
Okay, so it's Heidelberg on the break again. Looked like a bit of pulling, but that could go in, just wide. Well, the keeper committed himself, came out. Stephen Knight, I thought it was, who got into a bit of a bother. And Blacktown almost gave away a very cheap goal indeed. Stephen Knight pulling on the player. That looked like a foul in the first place. And the long ball just eluding the net, going over the bar. So Blacktown needs all the fire and enterprise they can muster in these 7 or so minutes that remain, and there'll be pretty pressing 7 minutes for Casey De Bruyne. Peter Tsalakis scoring 2 goals. We'll be celebrating tonight if the score will remain. But even if it doesn't, he's had a good game. Free kick to Heidelberg. Theo Salamidis, who also had a fine game today.
Actually, he has, Les, because Blacktown have played into his strength, because he's a very good player in the air, and they've played so much stuff to him, it's enabled him to be a good defender today, instead of trying to exploit his weaknesses as a sweeper on the ground.
Well, you were talking, Len, a bit of a blue developing there between Don McLeod and one of his contemporaries from the other side, who is Delianis, but they're okay, all friends in the end. Canasulas twisting and turning. Now Tsalakis, hungry for more. Now, had he been a little bit older and more experienced, that could have been a penalty. Peter Tsalakis looking to thread his way and tiptoe his way all the way to the goal. And Don McLeod, lucky he didn't get a more experienced man who would have been willing to take a dive. Throw into, no, indeed, it'll be a goal kick. And Blacktown will need to do things in a hurry. 9 goals they scored in their previous 2 matches in the Cup. They managed 2 here as well, which is a credit to them. But the numbers are in Heidelberg's favour. McKee. Cut out by Byrne. Now Bradley. Carroll wants it on the right, but Bradley wants the long one forward, and that's wasted again. John Bradley, skillful player. His contribution not telling tonight.
This is terrible, as you know, like Heidelberg are forcing over the kick. I mean, he's doing absolutely nothing with the kicks anyway.
It is a mystery to me as well, then. Willis. Joe Carroll. Well, Joe Carroll came down to Melbourne with great ambition tonight to show the Melbourne fans all the good form that he's had in Sydney with Blacktown, but he hasn't been lucky today. Brett Thornthwaite, his young colleague, has scored both goals. Bradley looking to force his way in, but it's cleared away for another throw. So the momentary pressure coming from Blacktown as we count the minutes, 3 to go. And it's a good long throw, and it's there! Robbie Slater has put it in. Well, there it is. Robbie Slater, well, I must say, a greeting of silence around Olympic Park, has equalised for Blacktown, and the damage was done by the enormous throw from Stephen Knight, nodded on by McLeod, who made the mistake with the last goal for Heidelberg, and Robbie Slater scores once again in the cup round to make it 3-3 with 2 minutes to go. So there we are, Len.
Well, as that pressure came from that bad left-footed kick by Olver that went out of touch for a throw-in to Blacktown. Lost possession of the ball again with just, as you say, a few minutes left, and also another set play scored.
So 3-3. 3-3 is what it looks like it's going to remain at full time. Although one mustn't make too many predictions. 2 minutes to go, less than 2 minutes now. So one must be driven to wonder why the floodlights have not been turned on already here at Olympic Park. It is getting quite dark, not to say dark for the television cameras. And if the floodlights don't come on soon, we'll be lucky to see out, literally, the extra time period. So a throw in it'll be, to be taken by Mickey Valentine, Heidelberg's long throw specialist. Hunter's up there, down it goes. Hacked away by McLeod. And Slater. Slater again.
Oh dear, oh
and
dear.
that'll be out of play. So Brian Garvey will be wondering how to reinforce the strength of his side or strength of his side for 34 minutes. I should think be saying Len. There's Casey De Bruin. There'll be some need for some grit and some extra strength in just 30 minutes of extra time, obviously.
And also I'm noticing one or two tired bodies out there as well.
Yes, a few bruised ones too.
Yeah. I'm worried about these lights though. I believe they take about 15 minutes to warm up.
Deep cross that time, and it'll be a corner. And talking about concerns and worries, Dave Curtis has had his hands full tonight, but I'd be more worried about the man at the other end, who can hardly walk, and he's going to have to see out another 30 minutes, it looks like. Jeff Olver. In the meantime, at the opposite end, it's a corner to Heidelberg, to be taken by Mickey Valentine. There might be a couple of minutes of stoppage time here. And Salakis, or indeed it was Delianis, who almost got in to put it away. And again, from a corner, again from a set piece. And now Dave Curtis is down. So a long way to go in this tie. And Delianis just putting it over. And Dave Curtis still down. And so is the man who went down with him. So some tired bodies and some bruised bodies around the 22 players who are on the park at the moment. And now I think the whistle has gone for full time. Now I can see the floodlights coming on. And 90 minutes are up in this cup quarter-final. There'll be 30 minutes of extra time. And if the score remains level after that, it'll be a penalty shootout with 5 penalties to be taken by either side. And of course, if it's level after that, it's the penalties keep going and it's sudden death. And at the end of that extra time period, it's still 3-3. And nothing much really has happened of note in those 30 minutes. So we go straight to the penalties, and the first one to be taken by Jeff Ainsworth of Blacktown, to be faced by Jeff Olver. Poor old Jeff Olver, injured man tonight, bad hamstring injury in the right thigh, and he will have his work cut out. And the advantage here must be with Blacktown, because their goalkeeper, from this distance at any rate, is not injured, and he saves it! So Ainsworth not making the first penalty tell. So the heroics of Jeff Olver come to the aid of Heidelberg. So there'll be a switch of goalkeepers. And it's now Dave Curtis facing John Kanasoulis. And he puts it away. So Heidelberg have taken a 1-0 lead on the penalty shootout. Dave Curtis going the right way, but not extending his reach far enough. Now it's Joe Carroll. And Olver saves it again. Badly taken kick, I think it must be said, Len.
Well, both the Blacktown run-ups, the run-ups at penalties are very, very important. Both too straight, and Joe Carroll far too quick there, far too quick. Olver's got across his goal both times very well.
So Jeff Olver doing well, even if one allows for the rather lame kick taken by poor old Joe Carroll. So that's 2 down for Blacktown. Ainsworth and Carroll both missing their kicks. And now Valentine blasting it in. And it's 2-0 on the shootout to Heidelberg. Which means mathematically that Dave Curtis has to concede just 1 more after this, and Heidelberg are in the semi-finals. Slammed away, as many people would say it should be done in these situations. The next man to take it is Blacktown's Peter Willis. And Olver facing him and saves it! And that's it! Now, it can be still level, but Olver's done extremely well. He's saved 3 penalties in a row. And beautifully across, a little bit too close to the goalkeeper, Len, the kick, but beautifully across Olver.
If you see the run-up again, it's very, very straight, and I'd be very surprised if Blacktown have done much work on these. You know, this is something else you've got to practice.
And shades of the Romanian goalkeeper in the European Cup final, Jeff Olver saving 3 penalties on the trot. And now, if this ball goes in, that's the end of the ball game. And Heidelberg are in the semi-finals, and it'll be Alan Hunter to take it. And it's not in. So a slim chance remains now for Blacktown. It simply means that after Alan Hunter's miss, the remaining 2 kicks by Heidelberg will have to be missed. And of course, the both of them have to be put away of their remaining 2 kicks by Blacktown. And it'll be John Bradley faced by Jeff Olver. And it's in. So Bradley puts one in. Jeff Olver for once not having the answer to it. So it's 2-1 to Heidelberg on the penalties, with 1 kick to be taken before sudden death will apply. And this time it's Theo Salamidis, and how just it'll be if Salamidis scores this. He's had a fine game tonight. He's been the mature head on the shoulders of the entire Heidelberg team. Theo Salamidis being faced by Curtis, and he puts it away, and that's it. Heidelberg are in the semi-finals. So 3-1 on the penalty shootout to Heidelberg over Blacktown City, which gives it a final scoreline, I suppose, of 6-4. And how just that Theo Salamidis should be scoring the winning goal, as he did here, sending Dave Curtis the wrong way, slotting it in, and Heidelberg are in the semi-finals.
Jeff Olver, some great saves there.
Oh, well, you know, I'm getting a bit of a reputation now at stopping them, so I was quite pleased. Everybody was telling me, you're going to do it, you're going to do it. Everybody had faith in me, so I'm very pleased to keep them out. You know, I thought we deserved to win before we went to penalties, because I thought we dominated the game in long periods, and we just couldn't put the thing in the net. Second half, like the second half, they come up once, I think, and we just didn't mark, and they scored, and you know, got back in the game with only 3 minutes to go, and we would have won it. So
how's the leg?
I'm not sure it's pulled or it's a bad strain, but I did it doing a drop kick, so hopefully I'll be all right for next week. Let's hope so, anyway.
Okay, and Peter Salakis, 2 goals.
Yeah.
Great effort.
Very happy, yeah.
Nearly get the hat trick.
Hey, well, at least we won, that's the main thing, you know, thanks to Jeff.
Okay, here we are with Jeff Olver here over Heidelberg. Back to you, Les Murray.
Well, there it is, the Melbourne skyline, from where we say goodnight to you. Thanks very much, Kyle, battling with the hordes of fans there. Not a very good game tonight, I think it must be said, and sometimes one is almost thankful for those penalty shootouts at the end of these cup ties, so we can get a bit of drama at least in the game. But Heidelberg, a deserved winner in the end, thanks of course to Jeff Olver and his heroics. And of course, don't forget that we'll have highlights of this game again tomorrow in the Olympic Airways Soccer League program at 6 o'clock, and of course highlights of some of the other cup matches as well, including that match on Friday night between Sydney Olympic and Canberra City. But in the meantime, thank you for staying with us. This is Les Murray at Olympic Park. Good night.